What's up everyone, welcome back to another video on TPL Locs. So let's get into it. Let's review the epic Locs of Jean-Michel Basquiat. So before we jump into this video, I wanted to show you what Jean-Michel Basquiat was famous for. He was a neo-expressionist painter. So the people who are familiar with Jean-Michel Basquiat, they might recognize paintings like this one, where you have there's a lot going on, lots of colors. This looks like a figure with dreadlocks, so maybe it's a self-portrait. A lot is going on in his paintings always. This is what most people will recognize who know Jean-Michel Basquiat, the crown. He always used to use his crown in his paintings. But we're not here to review his art, we are here to review his locks. So let's get on to the first picture. I don't really know if this is the true timeline. It was really hard to see which pictures are from which year. But I'm pretty sure that he started out with this crazy mohawk. This mohawk runs up to his forehead, but he shaves the rest of his head and he has hair in the back. If we look at the next picture, you can see what that looks like from the side. So he's already kind of starting to form small dreadlocks in the back. Up top, he's completely bald. I think this is such a wild hairstyle. I know a lot of rappers these days try to shock people with the way they make their hair look, but I think this is easily top 5 craziest hairstyles I've seen. Then we jump to, I think, a year or maybe a bit later, where he started growing out the top again and the sides. Here he started growing out his hair, and as you can see, it is typical freeform looking. His locks are super varied. Some of them are thick, some of them are thin. They're all standing up, and it doesn't look like he does much to maintain his dreadlocks. The same day, but the picture from the front this time, you can already start to see that the sides are kind of falling down and the top is still standing up. And as the months go by or the years go by, you can see how his hair starts to grow in a kind of little palm trees on his head. So this is what I was talking about. You can start to see that little individual palm trees are starting to kind of form on his head. So a lot of congos. He just keeps growing out his hair, and for some reason the hair on top is standing up and the hair on the sides are kind of falling down. Here again you can see a huge congo. This must be at least like 5 to 7 dreadlocks that have grown together. So he truly does not pull them apart, retwist them. I'm pretty sure he didn't do anything. He just let his hair grow. And here we can start to see how those palm trees shape over time, because more and more locks start growing together. His edges seem to not grow into those congos, but they will over time form their own little locks. On the sides they kind of look like dog ears to me. On the sides, also huge congos, so I think he has like 1, 2, 3, maybe one behind that, 4, 5, 6, and some on his back. So he went from having a lot of tiny dreadlocks here to having just a few big blocks of locks, which look like palm trees to me. This is the look that people probably know him for, where 2 of the strands of hair are standing up top and the rest is standing up on the sides. I think if you Google his name, this is one of the pictures that you see and the locks that you see. But after this, he actually cut his hair. Before, I thought he went from the mohawk, from the half-shaven head, to having short locks, having top locks, which you will see next, to having hair like this, with hair all over his head. But actually, he got this hairstyle first, and then he cut his locks and restarted and had top locks. So that's interesting about his journey. Another picture of him, and there is another celebrity in this picture. If you know who it is, let me know in the comments. I'll give you a few seconds to guess. Maybe you recognize her. But yes, this is Madonna. Madonna and Jean-Michel Basquiat were apparently buddies. They were hanging out together. There are a few pictures of them together. And I think it's really funny how Madonna has been in the music business for such a long time, and she knew all of these legends. And sadly, most of those legends have passed away. So some other fun facts about Jean-Michel Basquiat. He was born in 1960 in Brooklyn, New York. And his parents are from Haitian descent, and his mother was born in Brooklyn but has heritage in Puerto Rico. This is another one of those iconic pictures that you see a lot online. Here you can see again those two, they almost start looking like pigtails, two pigtails on top and then a few congos growing from the side of his head. Here we have another picture where he's sitting in front of his art. And another fun fact about his art is that in 2017, he set a record for any American artist by having a painting of him auctioned for $110.5 million. So he then cut his locks, and he did not cut all of them. You can see that he still has locks in the back, and he just cut his locks from the top and from the sides. What I did read somewhere is that he could never grab a taxi cab in New York because he had dreadlocks and people thought he wasn't able to pay for the taxi. So maybe that's the reason why he cut his locks, kept some of them, because if you look at him in this picture, you might not really notice that he has dreadlocks. If you put the hair in the back in a ponytail, you wouldn't even notice, but he was discriminated against a lot for having dreadlocks. Maybe that's the reason he cut his locks, but maybe not, who knows, because he will get locks again. Here you can see that he's starting to get locks again. You can see those small baby locks forming, and he's standing next to Andy Warhol. If you don't know Andy Warhol, he was a huge artist in the 1980s. Maybe even before that, but he has painted those stenciled portraits of Marilyn Monroe that you might recognize. And yeah, they would hang out a lot together. Here's another picture of them together. And here you can see that he grew the top of his hair and they formed locks again, but he kept the sides short. So that is something that you see a lot these days as well. And although he was such an iconic painter and was a multi-talented guy, he also used a lot of drugs. So unfortunately, he died at the young age of 28. There are a few documentaries of him available on YouTube if you're interested in learning more about him, but he didn't have the happiest life because of the time that he lived in, the field that he was in. He was one of the first black artists in the US to become really famous, and he influenced the art industry a lot, but he didn't really get recognized for it until after his death, which happens to a lot of artists. In this picture, you can see him next to Keith Haring. You might recognize some of his art as well. And they were all hanging out together making art. And what's interesting about his locks is that the top has started to grow, and he put a hairband around a few of his locks in the back that were getting pretty long. Here you can see him with a hat, and you can see that he keeps the sides short and he grows out the top. Another picture of him with the top locks. I wonder if he inspired the top locks of this generation, because I know right now guys are really into getting, guys especially, some girls are into getting dreadlocks like this. They freeform the top and then they keep the sides short, and he was already doing that back then, so that's pretty impressive. Lastly, we have this picture. He's standing in front of his own artwork again. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not sure if this whole timeline is correct because it's really hard to find all the dates with all the pictures that were available of him online. But I think we've covered most of his hair and most of his transition from having no locks to getting a crazy mohawk, a half-shaven head, to having kind of like the Weeknd style dreadlocks with the Congo palm trees, to having top locks. People often get locks and then just grow them really long and never cut their hair and get super long locks. But he was already back in the 80s experimenting with different styles of dreadlocks. And I think that makes him iconic in yet another way. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It takes me quite some time to film, research, and edit these videos, And if you just give this video a thumbs up, it would really help this channel. Also, if you have ideas of people that you want me to review, people with locks, leave them in the comments as always. And have a good day. I'll see you next time. Peace.